Hey guys, welcome back to Book Buzz. We're here for week 14. Got a quick check-in. Alonzo Simon's here with me today. We're talking about 3 titles. 2 Star Wars. First is the Star Wars newspaper strip collection, the 2nd volume by our Library of American Comics imprint in conjunction with Marvel Comics. Second, we've got Star Wars Adventures Volume 2, which Alonzo Simon will show you a little bit about. And finally, we're going to take a look at the Lovecraft Call of Cthulhu book, where we've brought a black and white story over from a Spanish team, and it really does a lot to make the Lovecraft stories more accessible to comic readers. So week 14, let's get started. All right, hey guys, the first title I'll show you this week is Star Wars: The Classic Newspaper Strips, Volume 2. This collection by Al Williamson and Archie Goodwin really picks up, well, obviously right where the first volume leaves off. But what we got here is a book that was really drawn and conceived after A New Hope had been in theaters. So what you got here is the classic Star Wars characters and likenesses and sort of visuals we really come to expect and have been celebrated for 40 plus years. All come to life in a daily newspaper comic strip and newspapers across the country, and you sort of see the blending of the main trilogy sort of look with a lot of stories that are sort of taken from the expanded universe. Anyway, Han Solo, Luke Skywalker, Princess Leia, Darth Vader, Obi-Wan Kenobi, all your favorites, and they're right here in Star Wars, the Classic Newspaper Comic Strips, Volume 2, in stores this week.
So we've got our 2nd volume of Star Wars Adventures, Unexpected Detour. So now, of course, this is a series of books that we've started of course, aimed at younger readers, 9 to 12 years old. Of course, everybody can enjoy these, but with the type of art we've done, the type of stories that really span the whole sort of gamut of all Star Wars from the beginning to end. Everything, every character, every movie. So all the stories you can think of are going to be included in these series. And of course, this one has Leia and Luke. So a 2-part story including them. We got writers Landry Walker, Alan Tudyk, who of course voiced K2SO, and Delilah S. Dawson, and some more. Plus we've got artists Eric Jones, Ariana Florian, and Annie Wu. So we've got multiple stories, multiple artists, multiple writers, all kinds of good stuff in these. Check them out.
H.P. Lovecraft. It's a name that in 2018 can be a bit controversial, and we're going to sidestep all of that to talk about his impact on horror through basically everything he created as far as horror stories. What we're talking about today is the new release Lovecraft, the Myth of Cthulhu, which is a pretty fascinating black and white story that we've imported from Spain and have had translated in English for the first time. This shows the just striking black and white artwork of Ernesto Maroto. And what he's done here is he's taken 3 of Lovecraft's most famous stories, arguably the foundation of the Cthulhu mythos, the Nameless City, the Festival, and of course the Call of Cthulhu, and has illustrated them in his luscious style. And as far as myself, who's wanted to sort of read and be more familiar with Lovecraft stories for most of my adult life, I've always found them really dense and sort of difficult to crack into. The graphic novel form, as you may imagine, does a fantastic job breaking these stories wide open and really making them accessible to audiences who might not be familiar with the works and might find it a little bit intimidating otherwise. So that's Lovecraft, the Myth of Cthulhu, and it's in stores this week. All right, guys, 2 Star Wars books. We like talking Star Wars, so we got Star Wars Adventures Volume 2, Star Wars Classic Newspaper Strips Volume 2, the controversial but awesome Lovecraft, the Myth of Cthulhu book, and that's it. Book Buzz, week 14. That's what we got. We'll see you guys next week.